it's Gloria from Scraps of Life blog. I'm going to give you a little studio tour today. It's been a really long time since I've done one, and it's all clean and tidy and ready for viewing today. Usually it's a big mess, but I spent the last 2 days cleaning it up, and I thought I would give you a little look around and show you some of my storage tips and tricks, and just kind of show you where all of the projects take form here in Southern California. So let's get started. The studio here is at the top of our stairs in a loft space between the master bedroom on the right and the kids' bedrooms and bathroom on the left. It's a large space, about 17 by 21 at its biggest section. It's a little bit of a strange size. Because it is a loft and you have to walk through it, I have to keep sort of a walking path here. I couldn't cram it all with supplies. It looks like I have, but I really haven't. There is a space to walk between the stairwell and the kids' bedrooms and bathrooms that you can see there in the back. I'm going to try to do this without making everyone dizzy since I'm doing it by hand myself. So this is the path that goes to the kids' rooms and my craft closet, which is this door here. This used to be our homeschool room until the kids all graduated from homeschool and went off to college. And I gradually took it over bit by bit until now it's all Gloria's Craft Emporium. There is not any homeschooling happening. The past 2 years, homeschool has been over. When my youngest went off to college, I was able to just devote the whole space to crafting. So let's take a little look at some of the sections or stations. This section here is at the top of the stairs, right outside the master bedroom door. Again, I have to keep a path so that you're not tripping over things as you come and go up and down the stairs and in and out of the rooms. I keep paper, 12 by 12 paper, in the tall cart here. This is all authentic. I'm on their team as well as Graphic 45, so all the authentic paper lives there. And then the left-hand cart is cards and other kind of odds and ends live in the drawers there, and there are some empty drawers. I have a few projects on display on the top of the bin, and then just some odds and ends there. Then this bookshelf is Bible journaling and just some things that I need to have at hand. Plus my adult coloring books live here, and Copic coloring materials, yes, and a box of crayons. You never know when a small child might come in and need to color something. And then this shelf holds all my Graphic 45 tags and then other tags in bins. Graphic 45, I keep a bin of the ivory and the craft and the black. And I don't want to run out of those, so I keep a big stash. Keep all of my envelopes here for mailing cards, and then at the bottom are some scrapbooking idea books, and then the boxes, the shoebox boxes made out of cardboard. I call that the card hospital. That's where cards that need to be refurbished or repaired in some way kind of live in there until I get around to fixing them, which is usually never. This is my computer station. So office supplies, more cards to mail, and then my computer station and printer scanner. Of course, a big box of computer paper. My neighbor's house. Just a desk where I can work sometimes with office supplies and things like that in the drawers. This section over here is my die cutting station, which is new. I used to have this in another area where it was really crowded, but when homeschool finished, I was able to bring it here and have a die cut command center. I keep all of my embossing folders and other items having to do with die cutting in this bin, and then this bin holds everything for my silhouette and Cricut and the label maker that I use to label everything. You can see I have labels on everything. I like to label. And then my Big Shot Pro lives on the top of the desk. I use this pretty much every day. So it has its own space. I have the hookup for my Cricut and my silhouette here where I can put them on the table next to the computer if I need to cut something with those. This little bin I keep in hand, so when I'm working, I don't put all of my dies away as I work. I throw them in that bin and then put them away at the end of a project. My new shells, my husband just put these up for me a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago now, for me to do this, to just display some things. And you'll see that I have a lot of plastic bins. I like the clear bins. They're not pretty, they're not decorative, but they're really functional. I keep a lot of chipboard items there at the top. I don't use them all that much, but I've been on a couple of teams, so I have a lot of chipboard. I keep jewelry, making supplies, and charms. This is some things that were mine, and then my daughter was into jewelry, and she had them, and now she's not into jewelry, so I have them back. They're like the bouncing Betty. I keep all of my wafer-thin dies in these totes. This is an idea I found on Pinterest. I label these larger cards, these divider cards, and then I put the dies on these little computer CD holders and label them. And the bigger ones I put in these envelopes and label them. So I have 3 bins of thin dies. And then I have my bins of Sizzix, the Bigs dies, Sizzix, Tim Holtz sort of things, a couple of punches. And then the silhouette and the Cricut, which has a silhouette cover, but he's really a Cricut. And my cinch binding machine all live here in this section. And the rest of the shelves hold embellishments of some kind or another. The last one holds rubber stamps, clear end wood mount stamps. You see, I label everything so that I know what's inside. You can see Graphic 45 policy envelopes, metal, retired metal, then just all other kinds of doodads. And sometimes actually it says doodads right on there. I also keep some pre-made mini albums in case I would like to work on a pre-made surface rather than making my own. Keep some punches and scissors, 6x6 pads, and then gobs of flowers. This is starting to not work out as well because I have so many. It's a big mess to dig through all of that. Here, see if I can give you a couple of close-ups of the kind of things I store in here. And then, like I said, stamps are over here. This is the section I haven't cleaned out yet. This is going to downsize dramatically when I get a chance to clean it out. I rarely get into my wood mount stamps anymore. In fact, I don't do a whole lot of stamping at all anymore. So I really need to clean this out and donate the things that I'm not going to use. But for now, it still lives on this shelf until I can deal with it. So going back, this is the hall back to where the kids' bedrooms are. This is where I keep all of my cardstock and other 12x12 paper that is not for a design team. For example, these bins have cardstock. You can see I have them labeled and organized by color. Hope it's picking up. So there are 2 tall carts here that have, actually it's 4, they're stacked up. They have cardstock, and then I've got some overflow things sorted by topic. I also have Heartfelt Creations here because I'm still on their alumni team, and I do have my Graphic 45 Christmas because there are so many Christmas collections. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. Here we go, here's some. So they live over here too. Hope I'm not making you dizzy. And then in front of my working desk, this is the front side of a bow-shaped working desk. I have more of those carts, the whole 12 by 12. This is all Graphic 45 here. It's organized from the lower right up in order of release. So the oldest is on the bottom going up loosely. to see if I could give you a little closer look of the Graphic 45 bins and collections. You can see that I have everything labeled with the collection name on it. And there are a lot of collections. I have some of every collection that Graphic 45 has ever put out, from the very first one up until the ones that just came out. So each of these bins is just filled. I keep a full collection, 12 by 12, 8.5 by 11, not 8.5 by 11, 6 by 6. All of the embellishments that go with the collection are all in the bin, and then I've got them labeled. You can see some of the bins contain multiple collections, and some of the bins have just one because I have a lot of the particular collection. That's where they live here. And then coming around the desk, I have more of the 12 by 12. This is current Graphic 45 and a couple of other companies' collections that I'm working with currently, and there are a lot of empty, so I can expand. And I keep a few things here for display. That changes, where I sometimes put those away when I need that space to stack other stuff on when I'm working. But you can see, I'll pull one of these out so you can kind of look. I'll put this on the desk. These hold 12 by 12. So it's clear plastic. And then the 12 by 12, I put them in bags, usually separating the collections by bag. Or you can see here is another collection. And they fit really nicely in there. Sometimes only one collection fits if I have a lot of it. If I don't have very much, 2 or 3 can fit. It just depends. But I like that because I can label what's in there. And if I want one of those collections, I can just pull this whole bin out and take it to my desk. And then when I'm finished, it just slides right back in like that. So I really like storing my 12 by 12 paper that way. It's the best way for me, the way that I work. So this desk is where I do all of the work. This is where I make all the projects, where I sit when I'm working. It is a very large desk. You can see that the cutting mat that I have is a yard stick wide. So I have a lot of space. And on the desk, I keep my tool caddy. This is an electrician's caddy that I keep all of my tools in. My dad was an electrician, so he would be very proud of me for having that. Those are the tools I use all the time. And then I keep some bins of ink that I use a lot. My little caddy with glue. I have 2 lights on the desk. And then I keep a little station for hot glue. And then I have this little mini hair straightener. It's a tiny little mini, probably for short hair, although I would not have a use for it with my hair. But at any rate, I use this to iron ribbon. I couldn't find a ribbon ironer that I liked or was a good price, and this was only about $9 on Amazon, and it works great for ironing ribbon. This is the back side of those carts of paper. I decided to put the business end on the other side rather than try to pull them from my desk side, because they all wouldn't face the same way because of the storage. So they're all facing away from me. I have to go around the desk to get to them. And I keep my materials that I use for filming and videoing. Is that a word? Videoing, here on the floor. And then I have a 3-drawer storage here. I keep punches that I use frequently. It's a huge mess. I'm sorry I didn't clean that out before I showed it to you. And more punches. And 8.5 by 11. I almost never get in that drawer, but if I want it, I have it. And then I've got a plastic set of drawers here for adhesive, dry adhesive, for pens and styluses, that sort of thing. And then the next two are where I throw things that I'm using, but I need to tidy up and I don't want to put it away, so I throw it in there. Shh. Then over here is where I keep my MISTI and my stamping pads. This drawer has all my Power Poppy because I'm doing some, I'm sort of doing a series again this year with their stamps, and so I keep the actual physical stamps in here if I'm using those instead of the digital. So this is all Power Poppy that lives in here, and then the next bins are all sentiments. So I'll keep all of my sentiments in these bins here so that I don't have to dig around for them. Then I have this huge storage hutch. It's a series of hutches, actually, where all of the other supplies kind of live. Again, I have boxes stacked up on the top. It has fabric and cording, and chipboard is up there, and then I've got several bins of ink pads. I have a bin of watercolor supplies, which I'm not sure why I have that big bin of watercolor, because I don't even do watercolor yet. I might at some point. I keep the 12 by 12 cardstock that I use all the time, black, brown, and ivory. I keep here close to hand, and then some overflow. If I've bought huge batches and it won't fit in its color box, I kind of keep it here. Odds and ends. And down here I keep also cardstock and bins of specialty paper. So textured paper, transparency paper, you name it. I also keep some boxes of layouts that haven't been put away yet here. And above, this is sort of, again, I label everything. I keep glue, glaze, paint, Copic. These are Copic refills here. Spray mist. Again, I was on a couple of teams where they did spray mist, so I have oodles of those. I also keep some Swatch Charts. You can see I don't have much of some of these, but I don't want to overbuy or rebuy something that I already own, so I do keep some swatches here. These little niches hold 8.5 by 11 that I use all the time. Craft, white, cream, black, and then Hammer Mill. This is the brand I use to color with Copic, so I keep a bin of that. I keep eyelets, replacement blades, and magnets here. And then I have these two bins are really for the garage, but I have them filled with embellishments. So small embellishments like gears, bingo tiles, clock faces, you name it. All the little bitty things are in that storage. I love those things. They're not pretty, but they're functional. And I keep, this is more for my adult coloring, glitter pens and Posca paint pens, jelly roll pens, things like that. I keep in there. A few little projects that I've made. My glue gun and my glue tape guns here. I'm on a ribbon team, so I keep usually the current month. Ooh, hopefully that I just gave that away. That's not coming out till tomorrow, October 1st. And you can see I haven't put September away yet. And then I keep colored pencil supplies in here. This is again for adult coloring, things that I use for adult coloring. And I'm learning to draw. I'm taking a class in October to learn to draw, which if she can teach me to draw, she can teach anyone. So I've got some supplies there, and I keep foam brushes, foam applicators. And up above, you can see I have some layouts taped to the doors just to look at. This cabinet has sort of my messy art supplies, my chalk, stickles, glitter, ink, embossing supplies, paint, re-inkers, all live in totes in here. And then in this one is where I keep all of my buttons. In Glad containers. I love the Glad containers. Again, they're not pretty, but they sure do a good job. And I want buttons, I just pull it out. I know a lot of people have glass jars, but these are stackable, so I like them. My friend gave me this sign, and so that I would be practically perfect and not exactly perfect, it's on there, not centered and crooked. So that's sort of funny. Now down below, I showed you that I have cardstock in that cabinet, and then I have drawers here. I keep adhesive. Yes, I have 2 drawers of adhesive in my studio. My envelope boards, my other We Are Memory Keepers boards live in here, and then another drawer of 8.5 by 11. Here I keep scrap paper for just laying down on my desk when I'm making a mess, or if I need to do something messy. I keep just scrap paper that is usually printed on one side, and I don't want to throw it away or shred it, so I use it for scrap paper. And then these 2 containers hold ribbon. I did a video and a photo tutorial a couple of years ago of how I store my ribbon. And so each drawer is a color, and then the ribbons are on these cards with pins to kind of hold them. So since I'm on a ribbon team, I get a lot of ribbon coming through the house, and it was a huge mess before. But now it's really neat. I can see everything I have, easy to pull it out, and every drawer is its own color. I also keep some more stamps here for things that I would use a lot for making cards. Mostly sentiments. I think that's all sentiments here. Birthday. Thank you. Then this cabinet, again, opens like this, and I keep all of my coloring supplies in here. My Copics, my colored pencils, my non-Copic alcohol markers, water-based markers, and then down below those 2 bins are things waiting to be made into kits, or leftovers from kits, or papers I bought to make kits and haven't yet. They just kind of live in there. This is my cutting space where I keep my trimmers and my scoreboard. It looks really nice and clean. There's nothing on it right now. Usually that's stacked with stuff as I start working on a project. But for today, it's clean. This drawer, I keep all of my Graphic 45 surfaces, albums, boxes. All of their staples items are in here, the ones that are not embellishment type. I even have some old retired ones. This is a tin that they had with a circle album in. I have 3 of those. Shh. I could probably sell those for a lot. I'm just kidding. And then the bottom drawer is projects I'm working on or projects I've abandoned, Christmas supplies, things like that. It's sort of a catch-all drawer. So this is my storage closet. I do have a bin here where I keep overflow. I think the only thing in there right now is spools of ribbon and twine. Sometimes I buy things by the spool and it just stays in there until I need to cut some lengths to put in my other storage. But there is a closet here that we still call it the school closet, even though it's not used for that anymore. I have a shoe hanger on the back where I keep refills for my sticker makers, odds and ends, a hammer. I was looking for that the other day. Just some odds and ends kind of fit in there. Again, we used to use it for school supplies, but now it's not. So this is the overflow storage. I do still have some office supplies in here and school supplies. I do have a kid still in college and he lives at home, so, but I keep bins of paint, things for crafting classes that I have multiples of. Like there's a bin up there that's filled with glue and scissors that I use for class. I keep all of my extra adhesive here. Again, office supplies, things like pencils, pens, lots of pencils. Somebody complained that they couldn't find a pencil. Computer, not computer paper, but graph paper and lined notebook paper. Just different office supplies kind of live in here. And then my sticker makers live in here. I also crochet, so I have a couple of bins of yarn. Surfaces that I want to work on. A sewing machine. I do not sew, but a friend of mine thought that I might like to learn, so I do have a sewing machine. And I have a bunch of aprons that someone made for me stacked up there. Odds and ends live in here. Tissue paper, folders, a huge whack of tape for my ATG. I buy this by the case, and I just got a new case, so it's all kind of stacked up there. I keep old books because sometimes I need the paper out of them, so I tear them apart. I keep some bins of wooden things. I'm not going to pull these down, but maybe you can see just surfaces that I might like to make something with them at some point in time. So again, this is really overflow, extra inventory and office supplies and that sort of thing. It's pretty empty compared to what it usually is. Again, I had a huge clean out not too long ago, so it is has a lot less in it than it has in the past. There's even some floor space that's not being used. And there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this tour. I hope that I didn't make you dizzy. I hope that you got a good feel for my space and how I work, how I store things. You can picture me here when you see a video or read a blog post, you can picture me here at the desk working away, surrounded by all of my lovely things. So thanks for joining me today. Have a good week.